Well, we call Mondays Money Monday, and we like to take a few minutes to answer questions you've sent in regarding your finances. And Pat, this first one is from Don, who says, with 4 active boys, we tend to have a lot of medical bills in our family. Someone suggested negotiating with our health care provider to try to lower the costs. How would I do that?
Just do it. I mean, it's exactly, how do you negotiate with somebody? You go negotiate. I think if you would ask your hospital or ask your doctor or whatever it is, that say, look, I'm hurting on these medical bills. Could you make some arrangement where we can pay less? There's one thing I understand, you get a discount if you pay cash. So that's one of the, I don't know if you're able to do that, but that's one of the ways you can do it. But just talk to people, and you know, people are reasonable, and I understand most of those who actually ask for some relief are able to get it.
Right.
All right.
This is Thomas, who says, is it wrong to buy a foreclosed house? My friend says it's callous to take advantage of another person's misfortune. What do you think?
Is it wrong to buy a share of stock on the stock market knowing that somebody, some down the line, has lost money in the stock market? Well, houses are, it's like a commodity. And
but by the time a house is for sale that's foreclosed, it's already out of the hands of the person.
Well, of course it is. It now belongs to the bank or the mortgage company or someone else. It doesn't belong to the individuals. There's nothing callous about it. It's just one of those things. I mean, it's just say like stock. Stock is bought and sold, and people lose money in the stock market, and they lose money on bonds, and they lose money on all kinds of things. But it's not callous to go ahead and buy in the market. It's on the on for sale on a marketplace.
Okay, this is from Lori, who says, I have a coworker who's always asking me how much I spent on my car, clothes, or other purchases. Is it necessary for me to tell her? Aren't finances supposed to be personal?
Lori, they really are. That coworker is presuming on your goodness. Here's the answer. You say, I paid a lot for it. Or, I got a real bargain. I got it cheap. Don't say anything more. All right?
This is Susanna, who says, I always assumed that my bank debit card was more secure than a credit card, but someone told me that credit cards offer more protection. Which card is more secure?
Well, I think a credit card is a little bit more secure. It's not a huge amount of difference, but there are some factors, I think, having to do with warranties on goods you purchase and things like that. I mean, some of the credit cards, you know, have a warranty, whereas a debit card won't. So the debit cards are for the convenience of the bank, not for the convenience of the customer, in my opinion.
This is Helen, who says, I've used incandescent bulbs for years, but should I check out those compact fluorescent bulbs? Is there much of a cost difference in the types of light bulbs I use in my home?
Oh, you know, it really is. On 60-watt and 100-watt bulbs, one of those compact deals might go 10,000 hours, whereas a fluorescent would go maybe 1,000 hours at best, and then it burns out, and you got to replace it, and it burns out, and it burns out, and it burns out. They use a lot more electricity, and for the same amount of illumination, the compact fluorescent is not a bad deal. But I mean, you're not talking about huge amounts of money, but if you have a lot of bulbs, if we're talking about a manufacturing installation that had a factory with all kinds of light bulbs, I mean, it would be a saving in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars. All right.
This is Liz, who says, when I go out to eat with friends, I usually get something much less expensive than the others. When the bill comes, they always suggest we just split it evenly. How can I tactfully let them know I'd rather just pay for my own?
Unless you tactfully want to be known as a cheapskate, keep your mouth shut and kick into the pot. And if need be, have a real luxurious lunch the next time you go.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it, because it's getting split 5 ways.
Yeah, you're right.
But I mean, the idea of saying, well, I'd rather have mine out separately, I mean, you're going to really burn a lot of friendships that way. That isn't a smart way to deal.
Yeah, for probably not a lot of money.
No, it's not.
This is Eric, who says, when I was young, my great aunt used to give me a savings bond for every birthday. Are savings bonds still around, and are they a good investment?
Well, they have some things called tips that was fairly popular. They were the interest rate was, you know, adjusted with the prevailing rates. I just think U.S. savings bonds are the pits. I wouldn't get those things for the world. You need a well-managed corporation, company that is doing business, hopefully overseas. Or you could buy stock in a foreign country, a company or something, and doing natural resources, oil and gas, or gold. That makes a whole lot more sense than a savings bond. There was a time 40, 50 years ago when your grandmother lived, that a savings bond was a big deal because it kept its value.
Well, people often gave them as gifts to children
Sure,
when they were
but
born.
they kept their value. So at
baptized.
the end of 10, 20 years, you had money, and it was real. Now, those things are declining in value at a dramatic rate. Not good. Not a good investment. All right.